Oh, right. I meant to make some background music because this is just an awkward silence for everyone on stream right now. But we're live. We're unmuted.
Hey.
Just double check everything on the overlay works. Seems to. I remembered how Twitch overlays work for actual plays. Okay, well, we may as well just get started because this is going straight up. I'm going to start a local recording just in case things break, but they shouldn't. Okay, OBS says I can't do that, so never mind. If it breaks, it breaks. So I guess everyone in the Twitch audience, welcome. We are the lucky few who are allowed access to the playtest rules before you can all see them during the Kickstarter that's going to be coming out at some point soon. For the second edition of Realms of Pugmire, we're going to have a where did that episode schedule go? There we go. Quick kind of round of introductions before getting into it. But it'll be alphabetical order. So it'll be me, then Lee, then Rosie, then Tom. Me first, just because I'm speaking. So I was like, I'm not going to just fall silent for a bit. My name's Ryan. I am Comrade Bubbles. I'm a moderator on the channel, so please behave. Otherwise, I will fully abuse my powers. So all of you be good dogs, whether you're a player or a viewer. I ramble when nervous. But I also stream on the channel every other Tuesday at, I would say, 9 a.m. Eastern, with a community content focused show. But that's it. I'm basically Comrade Bubbles on most social Twitter, Tumblr, and co-host as well. But Lee, why don't you explain a bit about you, where people can find you, that kind of thing?
I'm Lee, and you can often find me as hiding as the monster under the bed. I am an American who moved to Denmark about 14 years ago. So I'm on a slightly different schedule than most Americans. I have done some community content for Onyx Path in the past. I was a playtester for the original Chronicles of Darkness when it was World of Darkness 2nd edition. And my most recent piece was in a book on the storyteller's vault for Changeling 20th edition. I wrote the opening fiction to By Banner Bound for Changeling. So that was a lot of fun. I do streaming and other games and podcasts, and I'm available. You can find me on Twitter at Scriftly. I will write that in the chat if you're interested. I'm on Tumblr as Ipsy, IPSEY, Ipsy the Unready here on Twitch, and on to Rosie, I suppose.
Hello, I am Rosie, regular size mom. You can find me on Twitter as @mom_size and on Etsy and all the other socials as @oddduckdice. Dice make me happy, so I make dice. I'm not streaming anywhere regularly right now, but I did do a Christmassy thing with Camp Murder Lake on Onyx Path a couple weeks ago with Tom Balthra. So why don't you take that?
Okay. Thanks. I'm Tom. You can find me on most of the socials as Bolthra, Bolthra. I have a gaming channel over on Twitch, Restless Barbarian Gaming. We do superhero games, World of Darkness. We're going to be doing a couple other things coming up. And that's about it for me. I just enjoy playing these games.
I just realized our social handles are on the overlay. Whoops, never mind. Moving on after that. So this is the fine cast that we're working with, and me. I guess a little bit about the game would make some sense before going into the content of Session Zero, and I'll explain Session Zero for people who may not know. So I mentioned this is for the upcoming second edition of Realms of Pugmire. Some people may have heard of Pugmire. This is the second edition of that game, but with content from later Pugmire releases. I want to say provided for in the rulebook. It's not all in the rulebook in the Realms of Pugmire book, but it's provided for. There are cats and rodent rules in the and the rules that we have access to. Obviously, we can't share those, so don't ask. But it's the elevator pitch, if you like, is you play as dogs, cats, and rodents in a post-apocalyptic world where humankind has gone for reasons no one knows. But it's thousands of years later, and these civilizations were set up that have sprung up that are dealing with what we would recognize as technology, but they view it as magic, and are just living in the world that we've left behind after nature has reclaimed it all. Specifically uplifted animals, so the cast tonight will be bipedal animals with thumbs, but this will have, ears on top of the head, snouts, all of that stuff. Non-uplifted, I guess. Dogs, cats, and rodents do exist in the world. They have vaguely derogatory names to separate them from the uplifted dogs, cats, rodents. Like rodents are called squeakers, for example. It's a whole thing. But as we go through, you may realize that some of the game terminology sounds similar, and there's no way around it. It is based in part on the 5e rule set. I want to preface the rest of the session by saying I'm not going to talk about the OGL and the current discourse around the OGL. That's not what we're here for. And the Onyx Path staff are very aware of that, and obviously making their own opinions known when it is possible to have an informed opinion. But that's what it is. It's heroic, post-apocalyptic heroic fantasy for all intents and purposes, but in a world where nature is reclaimed rather than like Mad Max Dustworld style. So it does use standard like D&D polyhedral spread of dice. It's D20, add number for most things. But a session 0 for people who may not know what a session 0 is. It's before you do any gameplay. It's a way to manage expectations, discuss safety tools, consent, build characters together if you're into that kind of thing. We have discussed a consent checklist off stream, and so I know what to avoid. I'll be honest, it's kind of stuff I was going to avoid anyway, just for good taste more than anything. But it's always important to have that and to set those boundaries. And if anything does come up, this is to you, my players, if anything does come up that you're like, whoa, no, I don't want to deal with that, please feel free to let me know, either just by editing that completely anonymous Google Sheet I sent, or messaging me. During play, if you want to... the X card's a little difficult over Zoom, I guess. I know some people do this and just make an X on the camera. I can't have the Zoom chat up right now because I'm capturing Zoom itself. But for future sessions, I'll try to have Zoom chat viewable as well, so I can see if anyone hits X and sends that in the Zoom chat. But are there any other safety tools that you would like to use?
No, I'm good.
No, I'm pretty comfortable just vocalizing if I'm uncomfortable with something.
Okay.
I'm good with that too. It's fine. I use similar rules in my games, so that's happy for me.
That's what I expected, but it's kind of normalizing the safety tool discussion on an actual play, because they don't always do them, and depending on some people like to see it. Okay, so that's consent tools. Moving swiftly down the session plan. The next thing is expectations. Expectations was this really broad overview that I came up with because it was not just social expectations, but the kind of game you want to play as well, because I figured do that before making characters would be useful for then making a character who can contribute. So in terms of social expectations, do you have any for me? Every GM is obviously different, and we're all idiosyncratic players. The only thing that I would ask of you is if I talk quickly, obviously, and when I'm nervous, it gets worse. So if you do need me to slow down, please don't just stare blankly at the Zoom, at your webcam, and it just washes over you. Please do call me out on it. Similarly, if I do cross a line or a veil without realizing it, please do tell me. I don't want to do that intentionally. But are there any other expectations regarding me as the guide? I'll be as fair as possible. Challenge anything you feel needs challenging.
My only expectation is that you have as much fun as I do, and you give me the opportunity to roll dice and break things.
Okay.
I think I told you my expectation earlier when I said I just want to be a cool dog lady
Yeah, no,
doing fun fantasy stuff.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
I'm just looking forward to just having fun. It's not a game I've played before, so just learning it. So
Okay. And it's not, I mean, to be fair, like, obviously with most RPGs, you can flavor them to some extent as serious or as lighthearted as you want, but at the end of the day, you're playing dogs and cats on adventures. It's not. It can be serious, and there are elements in the core book that we are sidestepping because they cross the line. If you want to deal with that level of seriousness, but it's I don't typically run serious games. I'm not like the world's dark enough as it is.
Silly games are fine with me. So
the only real expectation I have of you as players is just respect each other's time. Don't yell, don't talk over each other, and I can see you muting yourselves when you're not talking anyway, so that's already met. So thumbs up.
Well, in part, I'm muted because my daughter got into my dice and now I can't find my D20s.
Gasp!
So I'm just like throwing massive piles of dice down on the table and I don't want to disturb anyone else.
No, that's all good. I obviously, my players can see Zoom. I don't mute myself in Zoom, but I hit the big red mute button on my microphone. It's more intuitive for me. It involves less movement. And I'm prone to forgetting if I'm muted on Zoom, but my microphone has a flashing light on it that's like, hey, you can't be heard. So that's that. Obviously, all of this stuff, if anything does occur to you, just let me know at any point, or each other at any point. But what kind of game do you all want to play? I know we joked briefly about Real Housewives of Pugmire, which I'm absolutely here for. But if you want to do a heist or a dungeon crawl, or I'll say hex crawl in air quotes because there aren't hexes, but what kind of game?
We're very serious people here. We can't do Real Housewives.
If we are seriously considering Real Housewives of Pugmire, I feel I should be honest. I've never actually watched the Real Housewives.
I haven't
watched
either.
any of those.
No.
Oh my lord,
I
we
haven't
might be
watched
the only
reality
people that have
TV.
it.
Like, ever.
I've only seen the parodies of it, so that's my context. So
Yeah, I mean, the way that I would, like, if we did go down that road, the way I would envisage it working would be more along the lines of like an Austen Regency period comedy drama, because of the basic setup of the world.
Delightful.
I'm completely down for comedy drama. It's just
Yeah.
when I was looking at the acronym Realms of Pugmire actual play is like Real Housewives of Pugmire. Yes, that's what my brain made.
I'm sure that Eddie will be fine if we destroy his creation on stream.
I think it would be. I think. Well, I love the Putanesca. So Eddie, if you're watching this, know that you're the Putanesca forever loved by me. And I think he would probably be cool with whatever we decided to do with Pugmire.
I mean, to some extent, like, until I hit stop streaming, there's nothing anyone can do anyway.
Excellent.
If we're going to get kicked off this channel, let's do it for the right reasons.
Gotta go down in flames. So
But unless anyone, like I said, hex crawl, dungeon crawl, heists.
I like a heist.
Heist would be interesting.
yeah, that would be fun. I kind of started the concept I had was a guardian with the soldier background, but I'm also down to do a rogue as well. So if it's a heist kind of thing,
Hey, heists need muscle.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, there's also plenty of scope for it to be like you could be pioneers just sent to reclaim stolen artifacts, because there are bandits in the world of Pugmire.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll just probably stay with the Guardian. I tend to, if I don't know what to make, I tend to go with a tank, like just a sword and board.
I don't know what I'm doing,
warrior.
But try killing me.
Yeah, so I think I may just stick with that because it's an easy trope or whatever genre for me to just jump into. So
that's fine by me. And obviously, if it is a heist and there's a non-stealthy party member, you know, it's drama, it's tension.
I will try not to have my armor clanging too much. So
I just want to put a heist into a Real Housewives situation. I'm hooked on this Real Housewives thing because
let's do it.
it's classic.
We could heist the Real Housewives.
Yeah.
You could.
I mean, there's so in the world, Pugmire is an empire because there's the city of Pugmire, and they have an agreement with the city of or town of Houndton, which is where the ton bit comes from, because basically loads of noble families left Pugmire and founded their own mining concerns and their own cities. Like individual cities grew up around their estates, and then they were just all so close to each other it just became one place. But they're all competing for who becomes the mayor when the mayor dies. So there's plenty of scope there for recovery if like one house has stolen from another house and is looking for outside help, for example, in this grand game of political one-upmanship that leaves Pugmire the city. So you don't have, because that's got a king currently. You can have balls and back alley brawls with muscle that's been sent to stop you from doing what you've been asked to do and stuff like that.
That sounds good to me. Yeah,
that works.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay, so I'll which is that's good because I may have spent half an hour earlier thinking of a name for just such an occasion to send Travis. But I'm not going to spoil that. Everyone's going to have to wait till the social media, and well, I guess until the Monday meeting notes go out on like 10 p.m. Monday evening for East Coast folk. Okay, so I'm totally happy to put any theme is the wrong word. Opportunities, let's say, into the game that you want. So with just the broad overview of Real Housewives of Houndton and potential heisting, I will put anything else in that your characters would seem to be suited for. So I guess ultimately, as long as you've got a character that could fit in with this job of going to high society and dealing with stuff, even if they are, you know, bluntly spoken and pushing back against classism, and we'll have a discussion off stream about how far classism is going to get into this. As a British person, I feel very strongly about classism and the detriments that it brings to society. But that's my politics, not Onyx Paths. So we'll have that discussion off stream. So any character really would fit in that. The offer still stands to make cats and rodents if you want to make cats and rodents, but obviously don't feel like you have to. So let's hit up character creation. I'm gonna, before we actually, so those my wonderful players, if you open the Good Dogs PDF, that's the character creation section. People watching, now obviously I'm not going to spill the beans about stuff that hasn't been announced, so I'm just double checking what has been announced, but I'm pretty sure I'm okay to say what I want to say. It's just with Zoom, OBS, and the stream going, loading Discord is a very slow process right now, because there was a post earlier about kind of summarizing a lot of what's been announced, because there was a Pathcast about it. Please wait while I frantically scan through text. That didn't help. The stuff I was talking about, totally not in there. Help! I knew I meant to pull up a web page just in case. It wasn't on the Discord server. Which, by the way, while I'm doing this, if people are watching this or just are tangentially interested in Onyx Path games, I believe Nightbot recently dropped the link for the Discord server, the official fan Discord server, and the devs are always usually happy to answer questions about their games. Load faster, please. That didn't help in any way, shape, or form. It's one of these press releases. I know it is. There we go. I knew they'd been mentioned. So I mentioned previously that it's inspired, uses the D&D 5e SRD system reference document, for those who don't know what that means, as the basis for the rule set. And as such, first edition, you built a character like you would in D&D. But some of the simplifications, some of the refinements that have been introduced that we'll be going through, I'll try to call them out as we go through them. But one of the major differences is, yes, you can build a character as normal. You can, if you have a character concept in mind, you can just follow a list. This one has 11 items on it in this PDF, and that's fine. You just go through step by step, and you make your choice as you want. However, if you are more interested in random character creation, as some people are, for the challenge that it can bring to the table. Please wait while I scroll through this PDF for those who can see it. You can use template creation, which is just a whole bunch of tables with numerical values assigned to them, and you roll on the table, and it tells you what choice you have selected. Well, not what choice you've selected, but what choice you're going to be using. So if any of my players do want to do that, it starts on page 43 of the PDF.
Thank you. I was going to ask, where is it?
Yeah, I was scrolling. It's at the very end of the thing. And as if sorry.
Oh, go. I'm sorry. I was going to say I actually might try this. I don't know. I might just try random and see what I get. So that might be fun.
Yeah, that might be fun. I agree. I want to do random.
You want to do random? Okay.
Oh wow. Okay.
Let's all see where we get.
Yeah.
Okay, so that means I don't have to flick through the PDF between steps. We'll just follow this.
Oh, template creation. Found it.
Yep.
Yeah.
You will then have to go back all the way up through the PDF to ability scores and stuff. Well, not scores, modifiers. But for now, template creation. Okay, so the first step in template creation, table A, your upbringing. We're moving away from breeds because they're really bioessentialist. Now your upbringing is what determines what your modifier boost is in and your starting trick. So roll 1d8, and that will determine what upbringing you have.
Now, where does upbringing equate to on the character sheet? Because I see calling.
Breed.
Yeah, it'll be breed. So that's you've got the first edition character sheet. Obviously, there's no character sheet for the second edition yet.
Okay.
But it was just a form fillable PDF that had roughly the right information on it. And
I got it. Okay.
I rolled a herder.
I also got a herder.
Okay.
I got a worker.
Okay. Well, that works with so two wisdoms and 1 strength. So yeah, if you make a note of the ability modifier boost you get from your upbringing and your starting trick.
Okay.
And then
I'm gonna just start. Oh, sorry, I'm not muted. Sorry.
The result that you have rolled then tells you which step to go to next. Unfortunately, that's where it diverges, but it's concept. So you can have your upbringing concept, which is the kind of like personality archetype. So, for example, one of the companion ones is a wandering storyteller that uses magic. One of the herder ones is just a merchant who lost traveling companions to a monster attack and refuses to lose another one. So that gives you your background and calling. Or you can go to your family, which is section C, which is the list of families that you saw in the PDF, I realize now. And that tells you your family name, and then that sends you on to background and calling.
I am the merchant who lost her traveling companions to a monster attack and refuses to lose another one.
Okay. So a merchant and a hunter, which is roughly analogous to the ranger from D&D.
A peasant always learning from the hunt to go after ever bigger game.
Okay, 2 hunters. This is going to be a pointy session. Pointy. We might have to revisit the idea, but that's fine. That's on me to handle.
Or I can pick a random.
No, it's entirely up to you. If you want to settle for
Just
the
roll with
first
it.
result, I can work around it.
I got, see, I rolled a 6, so I'm trying to find out where that is. And the up, we're doing upbringing concepts now.
Yes, you were workers, weren't you?
Yeah.
That's page 46.
Oh,
47.
I'm sorry. Okay.
If you want to do a random combination of background and calling, or you can do background and calling separately.
Got it. Okay. Um,
The concepts are just like high concept things that include all the stuff that you'll need, but you can just
Gotcha.
roll for them separately if you want to.
Okay. Yeah, actually, the a royal guard that dispatches threats before they start, that's a soldier. So it
Soldier
kinda
and a
works.
guardian. That's exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
Okay, so if you will write down your background and your calling, because they do. Your calling is essentially your D&D class. But I'm just
Gotcha.
trying to relate terms that people will know in the wider TTRPG sphere.
Thank you. Yep.
Wait, which was the background? That's the.
For you, your background was common folk,
Gotcha.
and your background gives you a trick. I think 1 or 2 skills and some starting equipment.
Sorry, I wish I had like 4 monitors right now.
No,
Right.
it's fine. We're all. Anyone who plays TTRPGs online knows the struggle.
Oh, well, I can close that. I can also close
And
that. All right.
my
that's better.
my family is, I'm a Pyrenees. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Pyrenees, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
big dog.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I rolled a 1 on the family, so I am an Afghan, and I had to look up what that is.
Stylish.
It is a very.
There's
He
that
has very long hair.
Yeah, really long hair, but really
Very
like
flowy
narrow.
locks.
And ironically, for background, I rolled an 8 and I got soldier. So it's not quite as random as those, but it works.
Obviously, if you don't know the dog, by the way, Wikipedia is your friend here.
Yeah.
I'm
Curly-
going to go ahead and skip the family name randomization because I have a friend who has a herding dog, and I'm going to base it off of her.
Okay, yeah, that's totally fine. Obviously, with any system that's random, just pick it if you want to. So with your family names, if you then go to the background section, your concept gave you a background, so it's like merchant, common folk, and soldier. These backgrounds presented in this section have like no choice presented in them. Those are just the things you get for that background. So the merchant, for example, gets bluff and sense motive, some scales, some fine clothes, and you have some coins. There are no plastic tracks on your character sheets. You'll have to make a note of that, unfortunately.
And for my calling, I got a shepherd. So
Well, you can stick with shepherd. So shepherd is analogous to the cleric.
oh, okay. Okay.
But if you rolled a guardian in your concept,
Yeah. Oh, okay.
so that was why
Okay,
workers
got
said
it.
you can go to section B whatever, or you
Okay.
go straight to.
Okay. That's what I keep messing up. Sorry.
No, that's all cool.
Okay. All right.
But if you do then go down to callings again, the stuff related to the call, so hunter is also there with no choices for you to make. It's just these are the archetypal choices that options that you'll have.
Okay. There we go. Okay. I see it now. Okay. I see it.
Going to revisit the coins thing for a moment. Pugmire doesn't bother tracking money. currency itself is a relatively new concept in the realms anyway. So it's basically you have some coins, you have a few coins, you have no coins. The character sheet has a plastic track based on from what I can read from the PDF, and that's it. That's all you keep track of. There's no minute management aspect to it like there are in some other games. But it's plastic because that's a valuable resource to dogs and cats and rodents. They mine it because man left plastic behind.
Oh my lord, I just got that.
But it's particularly valuable as a resource because I think it's to the south of the Empire of Pugmire. There is the Acid Sea, and boats with traditional wooden hulls melt in the Acid Sea. But if you cover them in plastic, they don't melt as quickly, so they can travel further.
I feel so personally responsible for the awful world these dogs live in.
We're babies. Oh no.
Well, one of the it's called Pugmire because there was a mire that was just the least dangerous place to settle, and the first king, Vincent Pug, settled there, drained the mire, and built the city. But the Acid Sea is particularly important because it's safer to journey around the Acid Sea than to go straight through the, I want to say, Frightful Forest, because it's just so dangerous in the Frightful Forest. So it's safer to brave literally a sea of acid than go through a forest.
I'm gonna roll the d6 for my calling.
Okay, your concept did give you one, but if you don't want to be a hunter, that's fine.
My concept gave me one? When did I have a...
Your concept was the peasant that... what was it?
Oh, yeah, I'd like to... I'm gonna roll.
Yeah, if you want to change calling, obviously that's something you can do. Breakdown on callings, I guess, to tie it into that cultural touchstone of D&D. Artisan is roughly analogous to wizard. Guardian is roughly analogous to fighter. Hunter is roughly analogous to... These are all rough analogies. Hunter is ranger, Ratter is rogue, Shepherd is cleric, and Stray is barbarian.
I got urban sniper in my concept, under my hunter concept for calling concept.
That's pretty cool. Oh yes, because then that gives you your starting equipment and tricks and things. Yeah, so then if after you've got your calling, if you then go to the calling concept, that will again give you a random thing to roll on that will tell you here's your starting equipment, here are your starting tricks and skills.
Okay. So calling, I got Ratter.
Okay, so that's analogous to the rogue if you like playing rogues.
Awesome.
The Ratter concepts start on page 51, way at the bottom. I should also point out, anyone in chat, if you don't want to, if I say anything that is egregiously wrong, please do correct me if you know better. That's really asking for it, actually. I probably shouldn't have said that.
Okay, roll a d4.
Once everyone's finished with their calling concepts, please let me know and we'll go on to the mechanical side of things.
I am a tenacious scrounger of a road.
Yeah, that's what I think of when I think of rogues. An axe.
I mean, it's small.
Yeah, that is true. It's very true.
You never know. I could probably hide it under all my hair.
True. So yeah, with your calling concepts, write down the skills that you get from it, the equipment that it gives you, and then your starting tricks, which are usually aptitudes for a couple of weapons and armor and something else, which varies based on. And it also, if you're a shepherd or an artisan, it also gives you your starting spells. A name I recognize in chat. The joy of being part of so many tabletop communities. Keep opening Discord.
I like that it's called a rucksack. That's adorable.
That's a
Rucksack.
bag that goes on your back.
Yes, it is. Yeah, but it's adorable.
Oh, so culturally, this is a thing, I guess. I've always called it a rucksack as a British English speaker.
Backpack. Less cute.
Book bag.
Okay, yeah.
Does everyone have their concept written down?
I'm working on it. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Sorry.
I'm looking for where to add my tricks.
Oh,
There it is.
Second page.
Yeah, found it.
and all of the tricks and stuff are explained in the PDF, obviously, just throughout. But I think they're all in this particular PDF. I think they're all in Good Dogs. I know weapons are. Yes, they are. They're just further up.
Is there actually anywhere on the sheet to put our concept?
Probably not, because the template creation wasn't the thing in first edition. This is new. We're treading we're not treading new ground, because I'm sure other playtesters have done this before, but treading relatively new ground.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially, all the concepts are doing are, if you do get a chance to look through the PDF properly, if you do look through the callings, it gives you a list of skills. It's like, hey, choose 2 from this list of skills, and here's some equipment you can choose from, and it's just making the choices for you rather than you having to go through them and make that decision. Which, if it's the first time with the system, as it is for all of you, sometimes it's better to just be like, hey, this is the game is recommending this, I'll go with it. I'm not the only one who calls it a rucksack. Woohoo!
It's rucksack in Danish. So it's very...
I was going to say it's basically the same in German, but that tracks because Germanic language trees.
It's German, yeah. Well, it's spelled differently. It's R-Y-G.
Yeah. Languages are weird. Fascinating, but weird. So if you want to, after we've done the made notes of the concept, the next step is ability modifiers, and you can randomly distribute them if you want, but it's entirely up to you, because if your callings themselves have primary attribute modifiers that they really benefit from having as high as possible. Actually,
I'm supposed to roll my unusual circumstances.
Yes. So each calling has a thing that you got in unusual circumstances, just as a, I guess, like narrative indication of you've had a life before the game has started, before the story starts. And you've got this thing from that life. I'm trying to find the relevant pages for you all. So I know, Rosie, you rolled a ratter, didn't you?
Yes, I did. And I just realized that on the first edition sheet, that goes in calling
Yes, these are
because
callings.
it's calling concept.
What did you end up with, Lee?
Hunter.
Okay. Okay. I'm just grabbing page references so I can just Guardian. So the Guardian calling starts on page 11, the Hunter starts on page 13, and the Ratter starts on page 15. And at the end of each calling is the unusual circumstances table, if you want to roll on that.
And this is still in Good Dogs.
Yes, this is all in the same
Okay.
PDF. It also gives you a summary of the calling, so you know kind of how they fit into the world and how they view the world.
Thank you.
And how they view other callings, but obviously that's a personality thing as much as anything else.
The page is 11?
For Hunter was 13.
13. It's 1d6. All right. Stolen from a mercenary hiding in Riverwall.
That's a district of Pugmire, Riverwall.
Okay.
A district of the city of Pugmire, not the Empire of Pugmire. Riverwall, if you do want to know more about it, it is detailed in the playtest material that we have. It's also in the first edition book, so it's not like I'm not breaking NDA by saying that. But
Okay.
it's the Realms of Pugmire chapter of the book. And then I'm also finding page references for tricks. Well, I guess so. If you want to look at the tricks, they start on page 23, but that's a lot of reading to do. So I don't know if you want to do that off stream and make notes. So you, as long as you've got the titles written down for now.
I'm sorry, where do we put the unusual circumstances on the character sheet? Is that in the background?
I would put it there, presumably, yes.
Okay. Because right now I'm just kind of copying and pasting stuff into the character sheet. So.
If you want to put it in rucksack and equipment, because you've got that, it's that thing acquired under unusual circumstances.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Yeah, the background on the second page would work as well.
Okay.
I was about to say, hey, people in chat, feel free to ask questions, and then realised that we're under NDA, so there's only so much we can say. Although the fact I haven't had a message yet from anyone saying, shut up, you idiot. Or stop the stream now.
Or if you have your, you haven't noticed.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've got Discord open and Twitch, obviously. Quick, check my emails. I'm not kidding. I'm actually checking. Now I'm just worried. I am concerned.
Breathe. It's all.
You're
doing awesome.
I do have a question.
Yes. I will answer. If I can.
I don't understand where I'm getting my +1 from.
Which +1 are we on about?
I'm on G, ability modifiers.
Okay, yeah. So is everyone done making notes of their starting tricks, skills, equipment, and all of that stuff?
Not yet.
Okay, then I'll wait. It's fine.
I will read G, and so I get it. Okay, yeah, that's what I suspected the thing would be.
Okay, I am now rolling my unusual circumstance. 6. Made by your cousin when you told him of your cause.
You don't sound thrilled by that one.
I don't know what to do with that. Oh, that's how I got my Ratter's tools.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So they were made by my cousin and they gave them to me.
it's the family business.
Apparently,
I was thinking that too.
It's a legitimate business.
I mean, it's as legitimate as anything else gets in this world. Come
That is true.
on.
I mean, everyone like automatically assumes if you have lockpicks, you're a criminal, but you could just be a locksmith.
It's true.
Very true.
Could just be a professional trap designer or tester.
You'd
Or
be a lawyer.
just a building manager.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes you forget your keys.
One time I did forget my keys at a storage facility. And I was moving out that day. And I was like, crap, what do I do? And I went to the facility manager. He's just like, just drill the lock. It's what we would do anyway. I was like, okay, sure.
Okay, cool. I just realized something kind of important that needs to be mentioned before we go in any. Oh, wait, no, never mind. It's there. Are you all done noting down your skills, tricks, etc.?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Because I just realized I don't have to pick from the list of first tricks.
No.
I get them all.
Oh,
At least that's how I'm reading it. It just says first tricks and then there's a list.
well,
And then there's choose one from precise attack or trap sense.
yes, and I think your concept told you precise attack. But if you prefer trap sense, it really doesn't matter. Again, the
I
concept.
mean, if I'm like looking to trap rats, precise attack is
So precise attack's basically sneak attack.
yes. That
Um,
makes sense to me.
like I said, the concept's just they remove all of the elements of choice to make it more streamlined and easier. But again, as with any custom thing, Eddie isn't going to reach through the ether and slap you if you decide to pick rather than randomly choose.
I would be super impressed if he did do that, though.
That would be actually that'll be really cool. For people who don't know who this Eddie is, by the way, Eddie Webb created Pugmire, the realms of Pugmire, and is a rather decent person.
I don't know.
What a recommendation there. There's a rather decent person. So British. Hush that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you from Philly by any chance? Because I heard I ate.
No. No, I am. I'm from a lot of places, actually. The longest I stayed anywhere was Dallas.
Okay.
But I am from Philly. So, hi,
Are
I'd
you?
like a bagel, please.
I didn't know that. Good to know. I used to live there for 20 something years. So that's where I got my accent. So
So I'm now done with my tricks.
Okay. So the next step, section G, as Lee queried, ability score modifiers. So again, it is based on 5e. So you have the 6 abilities: strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. However, unlike 5e, it's second edition has done away with the 1 through 20 range for ability scores because you don't have a score anymore. You just have a modifier.
okay.
If you go to page 20 in the PDF, it's like halfway down. It gives you the array of modifiers that you can assign.
Okay.
While the template creation does allow you to randomly determine where you put your modifiers, I'd probably recommend against it unless you're super all in on the random character creation.
I would like to distribute my modifiers and all that good juju.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think I think the template creation is like you should probably distribute manually, but here is a randomization if you want to. but yeah, there's +2, +1, +1, 0, 0, and -1, and you put your immediately above it. It has the list of callings and their primary abilities. Those are the 2 abilities that you'll want your highest modifiers in.
Okay.
Mhm.
So it says Guardians 10 plus Constitution. So I'm putting the, what does that mean? I'm putting the 10.
Oh, you've got a bit too far.
Oh, okay.
That's for health, stamina. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's all
Oh,
good.
yeah. Oh, wrong chart. Sorry.
Oops. Just gave myself a +0.5.
The maths gets a bit weird when you do that.
Oh, okay. I see it now. I'm sorry. +2, +1. Okay.
Yes. So you'll also once you've chosen where to put those, you'll also get a +2 from your upbringing, and that just is additive to your modifier.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. That was okay.
So when it's additive, if I have a +2 in wisdom from being a
Herder.
herder, yeah,
Yes.
then I get an additional +2.
Yeah, if you want to put the +2 into wisdom as well, so you're a bit +4 for wisdom based rolls.
Oh. Maybe I want +2.
And if you are unsure about which primary ability to favor, feel free to ask, obviously. Because each skill is associated with an ability modifier when you're rolling it, and then certain tricks require certain modifiers.
Setting question.
Yes.
Do we call doctors vets?
You'd probably call them doctors or physicians.
Okay. Thank you.
Because you're uplifted, but you may possibly have vets for non-uplifted.
So like my horse might go to a vet.
Yeah, I think they're
Okay.
I think they're just called canines and felines if they're non-uplifted. But they would see a vet for illnesses and ailments.
Thank you. That was going to bother me until I asked.
No, that's fine. I mean, there's nothing in the book about it that I remember, but it just seems to make sense that you would have physicians and doctors and then vets for your animal allies.
I may have to have you look at my character sheet later, Ryan, to see if I did everything right.
Yep, that's fine. I was going to ask if you could send them to me anyway, so I know what I'm writing for.
Yeah, I may be doing it wrong, so have you take a look at it. Because I've got, for my modifiers, I had a +2 strength from being a worker. So then I would take that, and then the modifiers I'm adding to it was like a 1. So I have a 3 then for my
Yes.
strength
So
modifier.
anything relating to strength, so like a melee weapon attack, or I think intimidate comes under strength in this. You'd roll the d20 and you'd add 3 to it.
Got it. Okay. I think
unless you
I'm doing it
then
right
have proficiency with whatever it is, and then another modifier gets added.
Okay.
Have we done proficiency bonuses yet?
Nope, that'll be the next one. Something also to note: that list of callings and primary abilities on your character sheet under where is it? Where it says saving throws. This system has changed from first edition, but if you just click in the circle next to your 2 primary abilities, because you have advantage in saving throws related to those.
Okay.
Which I know I'm fine to talk about because we were talking about it on the Discord server earlier. And advantage, if you don't know, is you roll the d20 twice, you pick the higher result. So you're more likely to succeed. Keep flicking through through Windows to check like chat and the PDF and how things are going here, and if OBS is having a heart attack, which occasionally it does. It's weird not seeing the recording going. I don't like it. Are you all done with your modifiers?
I think so.
Yeah.
Are you happy with where you've put them? Those, as I said, those primary abilities are the ones that your calling tricks will trigger off of. And obviously, like, don't send them to me straight away. If you do go through the PDF, the tricks do start on page 23. So if you're looking at the tricks you've got and you notice that more of them rely on the other primary ability that you have, feel free to obviously swap it around and stuff.
Cool.
I was going to ask if you all wanted to make like level 3 characters, but realized if it's the first time with the system, it's probably not the best thing
No.
to do.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, and my character is probably older, so I wasn't sure if they were all starting off as puppies or
No,
how this worked. Okay. Yeah.
No, it's like levels, as in most games, are more like this is how experienced your dog is.
Got it. Okay.
At something.
Okay.
So I'll specifically mention this because this is more just familiarity with the game line than anything, because this was the case in first edition as well. When you level up, you can take new tricks, or you can alter tricks you have in certain ways based on the refinement option that is presented, which is pretty cool. So even if you have two characters with the same tricks, if they have different refinements, they still play differently, mechanically speaking, at the table. Right. I think... So I'm just going back to the bottom of the template creation. So none of you are spellcasters, so that's pretty good. Just adds extra, rules to deal with. Although the spellcasting has changed since first edition, so anyone coming into this, be aware of that.
I mean, I personally love whenever I'm in a small party without a spellcaster, because you generally have to like problem solve a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it brings me joy.
It's going to be a ride.
I just want to smash things.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, who needs a mage when you've got
A mace.
a mace? There you go. Just one letter's difference.
This was a problem my partner had in the latest D&D campaign I was in. Everyone else multiclassed into spellcasters, and then she was just playing a monk. She was like, but they could do so much stuff, and I'm like, yeah, but you can run up walls and across water without risking anti-magic zones.
Yep.
But once you have all assigned your ability modifiers, it's so hard not to say ability score modifiers or ability scores after nearly 10 years. Tom, you found the stamina and proficiency stuff earlier.
Yes.
Stamina is your health. So if you do go scroll down to page 21, it tells you how much your starting health is.
Okay.
Well, actually, more accurately, that's how much health you get whenever you level up. But I think it's the same. I'll just check the callings for you. Yeah, it's essentially the maximum value of your hit die.
Okay, so 10 plus Constitution. Okay.
Healing works broadly the same as it does in... Specifically healing as it does in normal D&D rules. But resting is different. And also you can expend stamina dice to regain spell slots if you have spell slots. And as you are level 1 characters, your proficiency bonus is +1. And that is added to any if you so your background and calling gave you skills, which hopefully you marked down what they were. On the character sheet, each if you have that skill, and I like ask for I don't know, a bluff roll, for example, and you're proficient, you have that skill, you're proficient in it, you then add your proficiency bonus to your charisma modifier when you roll the d20. Otherwise, you're just using charisma. It's pretty self-explanatory. I feel like it's simple. Proficiency bonus is also added to attack rolls if you have the aptitude for the weapon you're using. But again, you should just be, your concept should have given you weapons that you have the aptitude for. So just sorry, I'm just scrolling frantically through the thing. Nope, that's the wrong place. Trouble with knowing so many different game systems, it's like, I want to say something, but I'm not sure if it's accurate. So if it's a weapon and the weapon keywords are on, well, the weapons start on page 39, but this is something we can check off stream. If the weapon doesn't have finesse or ranged as its property, you use your strength modifier for it. If it is a finesse or ranged weapon, if it's a ranged weapon, you use dexterity modifier. If it's finesse, you can choose. But as with, whichever modifier you choose to use or are forced to use by the weapon property, you add the proficiency bonus to it for the attack roll, and then you just use that modifier as additional damage on damage rolls after rolling the weapon damage die. I also love the fact that filleting knife is a weapon in this game. If I am overloading you, by the way, please just tell me.
No, you're fine.
I'm trying to keep silence to a minimum but I don't want to distract people by talking.
No, you're fine.
Session 0 is a weird thing to stream, but it's important to stream it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I'm trying to just in the rucksack go through and like add the his gear and all that stuff. So
I'm just going to address some stuff in chat while you're doing that. Thank you for the cheer, Josh. We really appreciate that. Sorry, Josh Heath 44. We appreciate the cheer. And the game's not in closed playtest, but as Josh has said, it'll be on Kickstarter, and you get the manuscript in chunks released throughout the course of the Kickstarter campaign. The first edition is out, however, and if it ever goes on sale, if you want to pick it up cheap or pay full price for it, you can. It's great to be here for Session 0. Well, we're glad to have you here. You know what? While I'm thinking about it, I'm just going to get the link for the core rulebook. As a reminder for people who are here late, it's called Realms of Pugmire, and you can play dogs, cats, or rodents, all bipedal and uplifted. Actually, if you get into first edition, you can also play as birds and lizards.
Ooh.
Through the Pirates of Pugmire supplement, and then I feel like compelled as ever whenever I mention it to say, if you pick that up, please do pick up Monty Corgi's Acid Chanters. It's community content, but I was involved in that one, and I'm proud of what I wrote. But it's gauche to say what I wrote in it, so that's what I've been led to believe. Uplifted as in on hind legs. Yes, hind legs can talk, thumbs to some extent, but still have muzzles and snouts. I've just dropped the link for the first edition core rulebook in chat for people who are interested. It is currently on sale, actually, the PDF, for $11.24 apparently.
I have a question about weapons.
Yes.
So I see that in my rucksack, I have one melee weapon and a simple ranged weapon. one melee weapon, I see that I have tricks that apply to simple weapon aptitude and martial weapon aptitude.
Yes. So
should I select my one melee weapon from martial or simple, or does it not matter?
As you have the aptitude for both, it really doesn't matter. By and large, martial weapons generally deal more damage because they just require more training to use. But that's the main distinction between them. Like the highest damage die for a simple weapon is a quarterstaff or a great club if you wield it two-pawed, and that just does d8 damage, or a spear. But the highest damage die for a martial weapon is a great sword, for example, at d12. But yeah, as long as you have the aptitude for it, feel free to pick it. And
I mean, I feel like I need a maul. How could I have the option to have a maul and not take a maul?
Well, a maul is just a martial weapon, so you could.
I mean, yes, I can. I know I can take it. I'm just excited that I have the option.
I see. It was the rhetorical. How can I?
Yes, precisely.
Gotcha. The most roguelike of weapons, the two-handed maul. Well, I guess it's the adage. It's still stealth if no one's alive, because no one can see you.
Right. And I need to look up. There's like two types of weapons I mix up regularly. So I'm going to Google to make sure I'm thinking. Yes, I am thinking of it correctly. It's a big hammer.
It is. Just bear in mind, obviously, I don't know what stat distribution you've gone for. A maul uses strength as its modifier.
Darn. Then I don't want that because I have a -1 strength. I have a +2 to dex, though.
Okay.
So I should look at that.
Anything that is bracketed finesse will allow you to use dexterity. In the same list.
So cutlass is probably my heaviest hitting option there.
I believe so, yes.
I'll take that.
Look at chat. Chat's got us. Although, to be fair, technically, there's nothing preventing me from saying that you can have a lightweight maul that uses the cutlass stats, for example.
I'll survive.
Stats, properties, there we go.
Well, because I do love the idea of my character sneaking up behind somebody and then just poking them in the back of the head with the pointy end of her hammer.
That's fair.
Like hard, but all you have to do is catch them before they hit the ground. But cutlass works too. Slit throats if I have to.
You do also have the small axe, which is essentially a throwing axe.
I do have a small axe.
So you've still got something pointy you can hit them on the back of the head with.
Yes.
I got thoroughly distracted from what I was actually looking at, but I'm pretty sure I've covered it already. A note on proficiency bonuses in case it ever comes up. You can't add it more than once to a die roll, but some game effects will double it or halve it, for example.
Mm.
So has everyone noted down their starting stamina, which is...
Yeah.
Yes. Stamina points or stamina dice? I mean, both.
I mean, yeah, both, ideally, because you should have a chance to recover stamina during this. And then, yeah, if you've been doing other stuff in the background, obviously, like picking your equipment, that's fine. I think... So the next step in the template creation, again, if you want to randomize it, is your personality. On the character sheet, you can see. Hang on, before I say this. Yes, on the character sheet, bottom right-hand side of the first page, you've got a personality traits box.
Mhm.
Why did I just do that? Okay, I have to keep checking I haven't broken anything in OBS. An ideal, a bond, and a flaw. I think those are different. Yes, the I can't remember the grammatical term. I mean, it's nearly half past 10 at night for me, and I'm sorry, but I can't remember the grammatical term for it. On the character sheet, ideal, what is most important to me is like the first half of the sentence. Those have changed, but if you do go to page 54 in the Good Docs PDF, you've got your D6 tables if you want to randomize.
Yeah.
Them just glancing through them, I'll explain a couple of things because they do have lore-specific words. The unseen are invisible spirits that are basically demons. The old ones is just a euphemism for humanity and mankind. Puppies is literally your children.
Yep.
Royal pioneers are state-sanctioned adventurers. We could have a discussion as to whether you're a member of the pioneers or not, if you want to have that discussion. The Church of Man is the official state religion, and it worships man as a gender-neutral collective for humanity. I think that's it. I like how one of the flaws is just, I can't be any taller.
I took that. I took that, and it's because of the dog that I'm basing this off of. She is a miniature Australian Shepherd.
Ah.
And so but she is as big as she can be. She's larger than life, and it's great. It's the best.
Hashtag let rogues have moles. Sorry, I'm just checking chat. So personality does have mechanical effects in this. I don't know if you've been looking at tricks, particularly background tricks at all, but they all have a thing that happens when you spend fortune. Fortune is a mechanic that was in first edition, and it's a shared resource, so you don't track individual fortune. It's in a pool, a pot, and you can spend it to do certain things. The background tricks give you one way to use it. It allows you to re-roll any one die in a roll, whether a d20 or like a damage die, or if you're a spellcaster, a spell damage die. Crucially, if you're re-rolling it and you had advantage, you pick one of the two d20 to re-roll. You don't just re-roll the whole thing. So anyway, if you are acting in accordance with your personality to the detriment of yourself and those around you, that gives you fortune.
Mm.
You can also usually that would be you choose to critically fail or botch, as the system terms it, just because it's the worst possible outcome of all worst outcomes, because it just is your dog's personality, and they would, they would act in that way, because fortune is a powerful resource. There are other things it can be spent on, but those are the two most, the two that came to the top of my head. So there are mechanical benefits to these. So like if you do get into a situation where it irks you that you're not taller than you are, like standing up to a bully that is obviously going to hurt you, you'll get fortune from it, but then you'll take a hit, for example. I think that covers most things. It's just the final touches. Reviewing rules for your tricks, I'm assuming that you'll do off stream before sending me your character sheets, because that way you'll know which primary ability you should focus on based on the tricks you've got. Constitution modifier, it is worth noting if you have a negative constitution modifier, that does subtract from your stamina. Spellcasters you don't need. Beyond just a brief mention of Spell slots aren't a thing in the realms of Pugmire Second Edition. They are a thing. Spell levels aren't a thing. Spell magnitudes are, but you just have a pool of spell slots, and say you're casting a magnitude 2 spell and a magnitude 1 spell, you're just down 3 spell slots, rather than 5e's like you've got 4 first level spell slots and 3 second level spell slots. Just a big pool of magic that you draw from. Your proficiency bonus is +1 at this level. On the character sheet, you have a box marked initiative. It's kind of middle-ish. Your initiative is your dexterity modifier. Initiative checks in this are... I'm going to say this and then refresh my memory after the stream and cringe when it's wrong. But I'm pretty sure everyone rolls for initiative, and it's just a roll off to see who goes first. And then you pick who acts after you. So for combats, what I'll do is I'll create a Google Doc that we can all see, and so we can all keep track of who has yet to act rather than asking. Yeah, that's what initiative is used for. Your speed, I think, is the next thing. Your speed is 30-40. As dogs, you can run on all fours, which gives you a speed of 40. But bipedal walking is speed of 30, unless you have Speedy Runner, which is a trick, and it will tell you. Do any of you have Speedy Runner? Okay, cool. That's fine then. It's 35-50, just for reference, for people watching. Your defense is just your AC from D&D, really. It's 10 plus your dexterity if you're not wearing armor, although all of you should be wearing armor. If you're wearing... Okay,
I'm sorry.
We'll go through this just in a structured alphabetical manner. So, Lee, what armor are you wearing?
That's what I was going to ask.
Okay.
I have 2 armor competencies, light and medium. Or aptitude, rather.
Yeah.
Right, I should use the correct term.
Yeah, a writer slaved to come up with that term and write it
Yes.
every time.
Yeah, I'm sure. No, but it's... which one do I use? Do I use the medium or do I use the light?
I am just checking what calling concept did you end up with?
I have Hunter
Okay.
and
I think you said
Urban Sniper.
Yeah, so Urban Sniper starts with light armor. So you are wearing light armor for now. That is 11 plus your dexterity modifier.
So that is... Okay, got it. Thank you.
Rosie, what do you know what armor you're wearing?
Light armor, because I have 1, the aptitude, and 2 in my rucksack.
Okay.
So I'm already there.
Okay, so 11 plus your dexterity modifier 2. And Tom, what?
It says I have a suit of armor. I don't know if I want to wear a whole suit of armor all the time, though. But I guess I was trying to find where that was on the list, the armor.
Did you roll for a Guardian concept?
Yes, yeah.
Which one did you get?
Soldier, I guess.
It's charismatic leader, inspiring firebrand, nimble duelist, or stalwart sentry.
Yeah.
Which one of those?
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine.
Where did I put it? Oh no, I'm sorry. I have a guardian and then nimble duelist.
Okay, so the nimble duelist is wearing light armor, so yours is 11 plus your dexterity modifier.
Okay.
But if you want, as you do have medium through heavy armor aptitude, if you'd rather to be wearing medium or heavy armor,
I think probably medium, actually.
I'm pretty sure the Guardian can start with any of the 3. So,
yeah.
I'll double check, but
okay. Yeah, I think he'll probably wear medium. He's supposed to be an older dog who actually probably has a limp, so he's not quite as. It's ironic he got nimble duelist, but it's not as nimble as he used to be. So
Yeah, so when in the calling it says 1 suit of armor, I'm pretty sure it's just you can choose because one of the concepts
Okay.
gives you heavy armor. So
Okay. Yeah.
medium armor is 13 plus your dexterity modifier.
Okay. All right. So that would be 12. Okay. Because he has a -1 for dex. So. Okay. And initiative again. I'm sorry. How did we do that?
Initiative is your dexterity modifier.
Okay. So -1. Got it.
It's unmodified in any way.
Okay.
Have you all picked your starting weapons, or do you want to do that off stream and message me with any questions you may have?
I just chose because I thought a warhammer was two-handed. So I probably went.
Tom, pod. We've paused now.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. Is a two pause. Is that 2 or is it 1 warhammer?
I'm just
Doesn't
checking
say.
the
Yeah.
weapon list. It's not actually in the weapon. Oh, Warhammer is one paw.
Warhammer does not have a paw list. Like it doesn't have 2 paw listed.
So it's a single. So you could wield a Warhammer and a shield, for example.
Okay, that's what I want to do. Is a warhammer and a shield. So okay,
Cool.
That works.
It's mostly just because the last step is write down all your attack bonuses and damage bonuses.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm trying to figure out what. I have a small axe, and I don't know what type of. I don't know if it's dex or strength. I'm assuming that would be strength, so I'm probably never going to use it.
Yes, it is strength because it doesn't have the finesse quality. Sorry.
Never gonna use it.
Well,
but
you
I
might,
think
but as a wedge.
The small, maybe to hold the door open.
Yeah.
Small crossbow. Okay. Yeah, I have a cutlass, my small axe, and a small crossbow.
Yep. So the axe uses dexterity. Axe uses strength. The cutlass and the crossbow use dexterity. And you are proficient, so you add +1 to those relevant ability modifiers in the attack.
Wouldn't it be? Oh, it's okay. So it's not my. I'm trying to figure out how to ask a question that is going to sound silly, but I think it's because I'm used to having higher numbers in these stats.
That's fine.
Should the -1 I have for strength be in the bubble below or in the main box?
See, this is the thing. So in first edition, you had the 1 through 20 number. So this is a first edition character sheet that's just been provided with a markup to make it for whoever makes the character sheet. Basically, just put it in the big box so it's easily seen.
And that's that's the number. That's
your modifier. Yes.
Okay.
And then where it says like attack, that's where you put the weapon name. Roll is your attack bonus. Damage is your damage bonus.
Okay. So if it's a dex weapon and it gets my dex modifier, I have a 2 in dex. Does it get the dex or never mind. I need to just write out formulas for myself.
Okay. So I'll explain for people in chat anyway. But the way weapon attack works in this is you say what weapon you're attacking with, and then on the character sheet it says there's a box called roll, and the number that goes in that box is added to or subtracted from the d20 that you're rolling, and in most cases it's your strength modifier plus your proficiency bonus, which at this level is +1. In some instances it's dexterity, particularly if it's a finesse or a ranged weapon. And if you beat the target's defense, the next column is damage, and each weapon has a damage die. Apart from unarmed stuff, a D4 through D12. Super basic, D's stands for dice. The number is number size the die has. And then, so you'd roll that, and then you would add your ability modifier, and then any other numbers that the game tells you to add. It sounds like a lot for people to like, this is my first encounter, but in practice it's quite simple, and this is so much more streamlined and simple than 5e is. Honestly, like, I like D&D, but I cannot fathom why it's still the most popular game in the world. Apart from just brand recognition.
Yeah.
Why would I say something so brave? On a non-Wizards channel. Are there any more questions about weapons, though? After going on that sidetrack.
I think I'm okay.
I do, but my husband has decided at 11:40 at night to vacuum, so I'm going to be quiet for a
Okay,
minute,
that's fine.
and I'll ask in a minute.
The last step in character creation is just... So, Lee, I'll bear that in mind. I'll just keep going until you want to step in. The last step is name and history of dog, but if you want to take a moment off stream to think of that, as much or as little as you want to do, it'll be like a 3-session, maybe 4-session game. So how much I can really pull into it is up for debate. But I'll do my best to use what you provide.
Yeah, my character is going to be named Sigmund.
Okay.
I went to a just a generator and found the name. I was like, hey, I like that name. So
Solid name for it kind of conjures the guardian aspect, like a defender.
And actually Pyrenees worked perfect because I went and looked at a picture of Pyrenees and I was like, oh, that's perfect. It looks like a old old white dog.
Old white shaggy dog.
Yeah, it works perfectly. So
you know what? I was in completely the wrong chapter of the playtest rules there. Whoops. Because obviously session 0 is usually mentioned like expectations, safety tools, etc. But it's also a good time to get started with the characters and the the draft that we have, which I assume is going to be the Kickstarter manuscript, preview manuscript, in the guide, which is the story, the GM, storyteller, etc. Chapter, has a whole section on session 0. So if you're unfamiliar what they are, you're not sure how to run them, that's there. There is stuff in it that that we did through email, like what name you prefer to be known by, pronouns, character name. Character pronouns would be useful as well if you want to note them on the sheet. We've already done content warnings. And things that you want to avoid. What I did forget to ask, are there any experiences or topics that you're... This is all off stream, like think about this, and I'll post these on the Discord server as well. But things that experiences or topics you want to engage with, how I can make you feel included as a player, because obviously some players are just naturally quieter than other players. I myself am quite a passive player, mostly because I, 1, don't like the spotlight, so I have the worst career choice possible. And 2, I like making other people stand out. That's just, like, I play bards, I play support characters in pretty much any video game or tabletop role-playing game I possibly can. I'm here to make other people have the best experience they can. But important questions, again, I'll post them in the Discord server. What on your sheet would you like... Do you want me to be aware of that you want to get the most use out of? How I can facilitate, quote, your crowning moment of awesome. What would you consider good trouble for your character to get into? And then if there's anything else you'd like me to be aware of for your character or for yourself. I know that time's running on a little bit, so the only big question I really want to ask, and I should probably explain a bit of the lore for people who are unaware of the lore. I need to find which PDF chapter it's in before I ask it. I think it's in Good Dogs. But it might not be. It is not broken down in Good Dogs. It's probably in... You know what? I'm pretty sure it's the same in the core rulebook from the first edition. So basically, I touched on the Church of Man. The Church of Man is the dog religion specifically. The other... I think it's in the Realms of Pugmire chapter. The other I'll say breeds, species. That's the word I'm looking for. Species. They have their own relationship with man. So the cats viewed man as favored servants, for example, because that's how cats view humans. We're here at their whims, to serve at their whims. Cats, by the way, have an entirely different socio-political structure. They live in the monarchies of Mao. It's very political. Rodents are vilified and pushed to the boundaries of civilization, but they have their own things going on. But to go back to what I was, you know what? Why am I scrolling when I could just Control F? There's 28 pages and I'm scrolling frantically trying to find the code of man.
As a librarian, always use Control F and Google is your friend.
Yes, definitely. As a writer also. So yes, dogs have the Church of Man, and the core tenets of the Church of Man is the word of man. So the commandments that dogs are expected to live by. The first and most important, and which relates to the big question that I'm going to ask you, be a good dog. And then the other ones are obey the master, bite only those who endanger you, defend your home, stay loyal to those that are true, protect all from the unseen, and fetch what has been left behind. Which is like, once you know that's the core concept between characters in this game, it's like, this game is so precious.
I love that.
And basically a lot, obviously this is a religion, and there's more information on it in the rules, but obviously with anything, there's a lot of debate in fiction, in the narrative, in the lore about what each of these things mean. But the most important is be a good dog, obviously. So the big question is, what does, to your dog, being a good dog actually mean? Because it's going to be, being a good person means something different to every person on the planet. We don't necessarily need an answer now, but if you could send an answer to me, whether privately or publicly, at some point, that'd be grand.
So essentially you're asking, am I a good dog?
I'm asking what your character believes being a good dog means.
Okay, I'll write that down, because I can tell you right now, it's a very difficult question to answer.
It is. I mean, the summary of it says the core tenet and the one most debated philosophically. It's clear it was important to old ones, but what does it actually mean? That's not actually more quote from the text, but again, that's all in first edition, so I'm pretty sure I can get away with that. A solid number of dogs who did not know how to play fetch. Actually, my dog didn't know how to play fetch, so.
My parents had a beautiful standard collie who was trained to be a show dog and was just an awful show dog. So they found a family with some kids for her, and she had a very happy life, but she just couldn't figure out how to play fetch. She would look majestic, running for whatever you had thrown, and then she would stand over and look and go, I found it. And then she'd come running back to you, gorgeous. And then she'd look up to you like, see, I found it.
Yep. Yeah, it's 50-50. So my dog was again, it was one of those that's like, you look at it and you're like, that is a dog. And it was 50-50 whether she'd bolt for it, sniff it, and then just walk away, or just kind of look up at you to do the whole, the dog thing of, well, what do you want me to do with that now?
With my character, the personality traits and the flaws, I'm probably going to regret this, but I took it based on one of my dogs. No matter what, I just can't get over my fear of thunder. So, which I know I'm giving you ideas already, but
you are. I mean, this is world information that I believe is already out there, but you have access to it anyway. But in Hampton, which is Real Housewives of, the family that broke away was the Hounds, with all of the different breeds within it. And I'll be honest, I was 100% going to use the abandoned, possibly haunted Castle Transylvania Hound as a set piece. So dramatic thunder at the perfect time.
Oh, I I probably should get rid of it, but it fits with the character. He's this big tough, but Thunder, he's just
I mean, everyone has their
So-
thing.
yeah.
I
The
will-
ideal I chose is I keep the monsters away. The bond, that time monsters nearly killed me. And my flaw is I can't stop stealing small things I find.
I took I keep monsters away the time the monsters nearly killed me, and I just can't be any taller.
We'll get along just
We're
fine.
gonna be great. This is gonna be so much fun.
And I also took keep the monsters away. So
We're gonna,
Yep.
we're gonna take down those monsters, whoever they are.
Yeah, but now we're going to get into the philosophical question of what is a monster. Actually, to be fair, monster in Realms of Pugmire rules is very clearly defined.
Oh, okay. I was ready.
Yeah.
Because I've mentioned the unseen, obviously the demons and things. Monsters are zombies, and everything that isn't an animal or uplifted animal or unseen is a monster. But if you want to get into the philosophical debate of whether the rich person who is exploiting their workforce is a monster, the three of you have to, get away, keep away. I'm totally up for that.
I like exploring philosophical questions like that, so I'm fine with it.
It might be a bit high concept for 3 sessions.
I think if it comes up in context of the game, I'll lunge for it.
yeah.
But that does cover character creation. Again, I'll post the questions in the Discord server so that you can refresh your memory. We have a week for you to answer them and get the characters to me. Travis needs the names as well. Huge thanks to Travis at Plastic Age Plays Plastic Age Plays in chat for just organising so much of Onyx Path's Twitch content and providing this lovely overlay. I think it's also Plastic Age Plays on Twitter or something. No, it's not on Twitter. You know what? I'll grab the Twitter. I think I'm just talking now to cover while I find Travis's Twitter handle. But basically, what you should all be doing if you're in chat and not already doing it is click the Discord link where you can ask questions and writers will answer them if they're allowed to, based on anything that we've said here tonight. Right. This is not going to work. Are there any questions from my players as well?
If there are errors or we did it wrong, will you check back with us and make sure that we get it right and fixed up?
Yes, of course. That's why I was hoping you'd send me the... I'll also let you know where you went wrong.
Thank you.
It's at Travis. I'm never sure how to pronounce his surname, so I'm just going to type it. If anyone does want to follow him, particularly. Did that send? There we go. Yeah, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. If you send me your stuff, as I say, I'll let you know where you went wrong, just as a learning thing more than anything, because I hate being told I was wrong, but not how I was wrong. But I think that's it. Do any of you have anything you want to say before we wrap up the stream?
I'm really excited for this. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you for the chance to play this. This looks fun.
Okay, so I guess things to reiterate is that this is a playtest of the 2nd edition rules. If you back the Kickstarter, which should be starting, I think, the end of the month or next month sometime, you'll get access to chunks of the manuscript preview throughout the campaign. Then by the end of the campaign, you'll have all of the material that we have. But I cannot reiterate enough, it's playtest. It's the playtest rules. Things may change. It's I think the usual figure they stick up is, I guess, view it as 95% complete. There's no art either. It's just text for anyone who has not backed an Onyx Path Kickstarter before. But the Kickstarter progress for Onyx Path project is pretty smooth at this point, and you generally get access to the manuscript, to the whole manuscript before the end of the campaign. So if something does go horribly wrong and you decide you don't like the game, you can back out. Obviously, don't, because the game's good, but it's personal preference. This should be, not counting today's session 0, because session 0 is usually shorter than a normal session. I would expect a 2.5 hour thing. So we'd ordinarily be going for another 45 minutes. To about hot. Oh, now I've got to do maths in my head while I'm talking, and I'm hot because I'm wearing a cardigan because it was really cold earlier. So it would be 6:30 Eastern, I think we'd normally be finishing. Does that sound right to American folk? Or 9:30, 11:30 UK time, and then obviously 12:30 for you, Lee. Sorry. Central European time is...
Okay.
It's got a great abbreviation, but it makes things awkward.
Yes, it does.
So ordinarily we would be running a bit longer. I think there'll be about 3 sessions starting from next Saturday at the same time, same channel. Hopefully, and everyone in chat can join us for that. Hopefully my players can join us for that, because it'd be awkward if you can't. But again, like, if you can't, it's just a general thing, I guess, to my players. If you are struggling to make a session, let both myself and Travis know, and we can postpone the session or figure something else out. That's fine. There's no, if something comes up, don't feel like you have to attend. Don't, like, presenteeism still exists in online actual plays as well as, you know, in-person games. So don't feel like you have to. I think that's it. I can't even promote my show right now because next week is my off week, so I'm not even going to be here on Tuesday. So I guess we'll see you all next Saturday.
Alrighty.
So goodbye.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks.